It was nearly 8 years ago when Beijing's bloody crackdown took place. It shocked the world and sent confidence in China and Hong Kong plunging. We continue our series, Hong Kong Back and Beyond, with a talk with Douglas Hurd, who served as British Foreign Secretary from 1989 to 1995. We talked to him about the challenges that he faced in the aftermath of Tiananmen and the impact Chris Patten's reforms had on transitional issues. Douglas Hurd is still on the road these days. He still maintains a hectic schedule. Hurd is the Deputy Chairman of NatWest Markets. And today he visits a branch in Newcastle, getting a first-hand look at operations there. And it's in Northern England where we caught up with the veteran statesman.
When I first knew Hong Kong, it was not a political place. Of course, it was a place full of people who'd come out of China. It was also a place where people made business, made money. Nothing wrong with that. What there was not in the 50s and 60s was a pressure for a more democratic system in the colony. That pressure then came, and it has, of course, become quite intense and was recognized in the 1984 agreements. Turning that political city of Hong Kong into a reality in the new situation is the most difficult part.
And Hurd is no stranger to that situation. His time as Foreign Secretary covered a period when Sino-British relations were mostly strained by the political reforms that were introduced in 1992. He tried to convince his opposite number that the changes were within the Basic Law and the Joint Declaration.
Talking to Chen Chi-chen, whether in New York or Peking, is always pleasant. I mean, Chen Chi-chen is a highly intelligent, experienced man. He was never angry. There were never any theatrical demonstrations on his part or on mine. We talked long and we talked well. So that was never a problem, nor with his officials, nor when I went to Peking on the airport question.
Hurd took the unusual and unprecedented step of meeting personally the Chinese Joint Liaison Group delegates during a brief visit to the territory in late September 1994. He also met with legislators to talk about Hong Kong's future. Many members, though, were dissatisfied with what they called Hurd's lack of understanding of the issues.
I think we all knew that the agreement of 1984, two systems, one country, was going to be difficult. Difficult for people in Hong Kong, difficult for people in China on the mainland. And working it out was never going to be easy. So we were expecting, I think everybody knew it was difficult and that there would be problems.
Time was running out, a point Hurd highlighted at the end of one meeting with Chen Chi-chen over the issue of the Jardine Matheson Group's involvement over the Container Terminal 9 project.
So we are not asking for any particular gracious favours to Britain. We are asking for the cooperation which is essential for the success of Hong Kong, which in turn is important, perhaps essential, for the future of China.
But for China, cooperation meant Britain abandoning Governor Patten and his political reforms. Hurd never wavered in his support for the governor, despite the pressure from all sides.
We'd hoped to reach an agreement so that there would be a through train. When that wasn't possible, Chris Patten had to decide, but also the British government had to decide in London, whether to proceed with what had been planned. And he decided to do so. And I'm sure that that was right. I remember when I first went to Hong Kong as Foreign Secretary, I was under strong pressure from everybody to go very much further towards democracy.
And what are some of the more memorable moments during his time as Foreign Secretary?
I shall remember my discussions with Chen Chi-chen. I shall remember the negotiations about the airport. They were very difficult, in the end successful. I shall remember staying with Chris Patten, walking with him, There are many things I remember. There were moments of great pleasure for me.